Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Wyrock. And Merry Christmas. This is our Christmas episode. And that's why we're asking the question, can we win the war on Christmas? If you're not aware, the war on Christmas language has been language used in the culture war that has been taking place in our country for the last decade or so. The idea is that there's a growing group of people out there who would like to see Christmas either done away with or at least stripped of any of its religious significance. A lot of people believe this. In fact, recent polling suggests that 4 out of every 10 Americans believe there is a concerted effort to take Christ or religion out of Christmas. And less Americans are participating in a kind of Christmas celebration that is religious. In fact, in 2005, 47% of Americans said that their participation in Christmas was strongly religious. But in 2019, asked the same question, only 35% of Americans said that their participation in Christmas was religious. You can see that generationally too, as millennials who grew up in a culture in which the practice of Christmas was less and less religious are now far outpacing previous generations in their belief that Christmas is a cultural holiday, not a religious one. So can we win the war on Christmas begins by acknowledging there's a shift in our country towards Christmas, but not the shift, I think, that most of us assume. I'm not sure there's some shadowy cabal that's meeting in dark rooms to talk about how to take down Christmas or how to at least strip it of its Christian origins. I think the war on Christmas is not outside of our homes, but inside of them. Not outside of our churches, but inside of them. That's because I've noticed now in 41 years of growing up in a Christian home, going to Christian churches, and now being a Christian father, that the temptation to secularize the holiday lives in me before it is outside of me. The truth is, we have all added a lot to Christmas. We've added Santa Claus and reindeer. We've added music and movies and subculture and traditions. We've added a lot of noise, a lot of glitz and glamour that on its own might not be evil or wrong, but it is, simply put, distracting. I think if most of us were going to do an audit of our own celebration of Christmas, we would find that the arrow is pointing up for the amount of things that we do that have no connection to Jesus, and that the arrow is pointing down for the things that we do that are distinctly Christian. And what that means is that for me as a parent, or for you as a Christian, you have to first push yourself to make sure that your celebration of Christmas is in fact Christian. And that isn't by doing away with everything else, but it might be by saying, for every one kind of secular thing I do, I'm going to make sure to accompany that with an Advent calendar that points me to Jesus, with scripture readings that reacquaint me with the story of Christmas, with prayer, with church involvement, with music that reinforces the theological themes and significance of Christmas. Look, it's Christmas Day, so most of us, our traditions are in the books. We've got one day, maybe a few more, of opportunity to inject Christ into the holiday that is about his birth. But we can't affect today. Maybe you're listening to this episode on the way to go gather with family, and you had not planned on opening the Gospel of Luke and reading the Christmas story. You hadn't planned on praying together and thanking God for loving this world enough to send his only son. But why not do that? And one of the things I believe in here at the church where I work is that anytime we have a major event, we should circle up after that event is over and ask some questions. The best possible time to review an event of significance is in its immediate aftermath, and to say, what do we like? What do we need to change? How could we get better? So even if you can't affect your plans today, here's a little encouragement. In the next week, find an hour to sit with a cup of coffee and a piece of paper and make a note to yourself for next year about what needs to go, what needs to be added, so that the war on Christmas in our own hearts, in our own minds, the war for our attention, the war for where we find our holiday significance is won internally before we worry about winning it externally. Merry Christmas. Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode of Wake Up, Look Up. While you're here, take a minute to like and subscribe. Really helps us get the word out. Don't hesitate to leave a review wherever you might find this podcast on an audio level and help spread the word. And hey, while you're here, check out all the other content we have at Christ Community Chapel on YouTube. Some of those videos are popping up on the screen now. Click on one.